Alright, so those mean words that I use, I already know people hate them. Like Shannon Alvarado, I called her that. I did. I called her that today. On a YouTube video. Not that she'll watch it. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. The thing is, I do care about Shannon. However, her testimony would have been the difference between Kara Miles going to jail and Kara Miles having consequences for her actions. Having consequences for fucking with me and fucking with Miss Shelley and fucking with all these other people. See, that's the thing. The police wouldn't look at anything that I had to say. That's what the mentally ill tag is. And then the homelessness, that just shows that you're not only too broke, but there's nobody who's going to help you. They can victimize you whenever they want. That's what homelessness is. If you have a decent family that gives a shit, you don't end up homeless. Not unless you want to. Sage, he's my former friend in Chicago. One of the people I was going to see when Natalie invited me to Virginia. Sage comes from a decent family, and he was homeless, but he chose it. He didn't like getting harassed by the cops either, so he went home. He had a home to go back to. He had parents who give a shit, and we had a talk about that, about how he really didn't have a lot in common with most of the homeless people because of that. But Sage was a fucking rock star. He walked people to the warming centers with me. Made quite a few runs on his own, too. That first year, it was me, Sage, and Ogre, whose real name is Christopher Weaver. We probably made 400 trips between all three of us. Just that first year. I mean, oh my God, we'd no sooner get somebody to the warming center than we'd get down to Pearl Street and somebody get off a bus from Florida cold as a fucking... One guy, he shows up, he's wearing shorts and a white shirt, and he's wearing flip-flops, and it's a nice shirt. It's a collared t-shirt, with a couple of buttons right here. And the reason I remember this so vividly is because the guy gets off the bus, right? And I'm inside of the bus station. I'm getting ready to... I don't remember what I was doing at the moment. I just remember that most of the time people walk to Pearl Street from the bus station, and that's where I met him. But I met this guy at the bus station. Actually there, not on Pearl Street. And he's looking out the window, and he was wanting to know what that stuff outside was. It's called snow. I wanted to tell him a cocaine factory blew up. And I don't remember if I said it or not. But I do remember that that's probably something I would have said. I'm mad at Shannon. I am. For the same reason I'm mad at Graham and mad at Tabby. See, Tabby didn't get rid of her ex while I was there. She got rid of him afterwards. I'm glad she fucking smartened up and got rid of him, though. And I'm pretty pissed off at Graham. I don't really like him right now. But that's completely different from not liking him at all. See, as soon as he and Tabby started playing victim and started playing that bullshit, I was like, I know where this is going. They haven't looked at any evidence. They're just gonna fucking get pissed off, and they're gonna start throwing the fucking slander that I've been assaulted and threatened over for the last 2.5 years back in my face. And sure enough, Tabby's cunt ass did. I still love Tabby, but she does get a cunt rating for that. See, all of these people who said that they would come forward and said they would make a statement and so on and so forth, all of them saw evidence and were aware of evidence that should have been brought to light to the police. Evidence that the police would not look at if I tried to show them. Repeatedly. That's why I needed someone to go in with me. And so the cops would take a look instead of pulling the mentally ill bullshit on somebody they know is too broke to defend himself. When a mentally ill person is being assaulted and they try to make a report, is it a police officer's job to take that report seriously? Or is it alright for you to go harming anybody who is tagged with the term mentally ill? Like, oh, my neighbor's mentally ill, so it's alright for me to go beat him up. My cousin's mentally ill, so it's alright for me to rape him. You know, my mom's mentally ill, so I should be able to lock her in the basement like Natalie was afraid of. You guys are out of your fucking minds with that goddamn bullshit. If someone who is mentally ill is raped, do they deserve it? If someone who is mentally ill is beaten up, do they deserve it? Why? If it's not alright for me to go beat the shit out of the dude who just pulled up next to me for being black, why the fuck would it be okay for you to beat the shit out of somebody because somebody called them mentally ill? That's what the fucking courts are for. Pauline, she's fucking not rich. She tried to send me $50. Unfortunately, she sent it to... I'm not sure if she hit the wrong state code and sent it to the wrong state, but I can't get that money. And I don't want her to ask for more money to send me. She had to borrow $25 to send me that. She didn't tell me she had to borrow $25 to send it until after she'd sent it. I already knew that she didn't have a job and that she wasn't rich. I see Pauline and Dan Faber and Layla Johnson and Katie Cahill. All of these people, Shannon Alvarado, all these people can verify that I was being threatened and harassed over the internet. All of them can verify that. But none of them made a report. None of them made a police report. Cara Mia saw it. Candace, between talking to me like a human being and going out of her way to be as cruel as possible, she chose to be as cruel as possible. The reason that she went out of her way to just send the mean stuff that I typed to her in response to her being a cunt, she sent that stuff to Carmia while I was on a Facebook ban, and I couldn't show her what the fuck was going on. I couldn't speak out and defend myself. So Carmia kicked everybody out of that group and destroyed that GoFundMe. And I'll tell you what, if I'm going to call you a cunt on Facebook and on YouTube, there's a fucking reason for it. I'd rather just call you a cunt to your face. But then again, if you manned up enough to come talk to me face to face, one-on-one, I wouldn't have a reason to talk to you like that, now would I? Now, all these people got little bits and pieces of evidence. Every one of them. With Candace, I was trying to get her to send stuff to Miss Jerry. Yes, I have that screenshotted. Me and Candace didn't stop being friends until I got out of Clearview. It was just before they caught Joseph Lopez by a few days. And she was just trying to get herself distanced as much as possible. Why wouldn't she? Aunt B doesn't want to associate with me. It's not that she doesn't care about me. It's that she cares more about what other people think. And these people who say, you shouldn't care what other people think. Really? Aunt B doesn't want to be ostracized in Chapel, Nebraska, or blackballed, or treated like shit for standing up for me. She wants to hide in the corner. She wants to help, but she wants to hide in the corner. Miss Kinga, she's an American citizen now. But she has to be worried about the whole Trump administration, so she's afraid to come forward. The INS, Immigration and Nationalization, or some fucking bullshit like that. Let's do it in our redneck voice. Tabby had to worry about her kids as far as me staying there and getting mail there. Because if I'm getting mail there, then she could get in trouble and she could lose her housing. Because it is government subsidized housing that she was living in. She has a housing voucher. But Josh, he just made it a pain in the ass. Is Candace a cunt for any of the things that she did while I was at her place? No. You fucking kidding me? Tabby is a goddamn saint. She is a foul-mouthed fucking bitch. But she's a fucking saint. And I don't know how to explain that except that, yeah, she'll fucking rip your ass. And sure, I've seen her rip people's ass who probably didn't have it coming. And I've seen her rip some people's ass who probably didn't need it all that bad. But for the most part, if she's ripping your ass, it's because she's already tried telling you 200 fucking times. Hey, bro, step off my daughter. That's her. You know? Like, she does look out for her family. She does care about her family. And no, she's not a perfect fucking parent. The best thing about Tabby is that she admits she is not a perfect parent. She's aware that her mistakes are going to fuck with her kids. She knows this firsthand from growing up. So why is she a cunt? Because she didn't come forward and make a statement like she said she would. Why is Graham a cunt? Same reason. Graham did sort of try, and I have his written statement. It's more pretty words than anything else. It lacks details. It shows that he's basically trying to write as eloquently as possible. Like, yeah, no, dude, this is lacking of most of the useful details. But it's got a few of them in there. With all these people who wanted to play victim, yeah, sure, alright. I'll play predator. But I'm going to do it from a distance. If you want to come and get me, I'll always let you know where I'm at. Always. As far as Ted Bollinger goes, at my grandmother's funeral, if I'd had any indication that Alicia was okay before I had to get the cops involved, I'd have gone with Ted Bollinger and let him shoot me in my goddamn head. But I had to worry about Alicia Bollinger. I had to worry about her safety and whether or not she was okay. You know how fucked up that is? Like, here's Alicia Bollinger. I've already asked people to leave the Bollingers alone. And I've asked for people to leave Natalie's family alone. I did that way at the fucking beginning of January. If someone's going to be mean to the Bollingers, I want it to be me. I don't want other people going after the Bollingers for me. If I'm going to physically assault someone, I'll do it myself. But I don't want to assault anybody, so as long as you keep your nasty cock beaters off of me, we don't have an issue. The problem with Clearview and with Avista Hospital, those people didn't keep their hands to themselves, and they didn't keep their drugs out of my body. Like, every step of the way between hearing what I have to say and looking at the evidence, or assaulting me and forcing drugs into me, everybody chooses option B. Fuck you, Zachary Mandrake, you're a bitch. Every one of you motherfuckers who wants to tell me I need to take medications, you should pay attention to the fact that what it is that I said that I needed, nobody has tried. Not one person has actually tried. A safe environment. Not fucking complicated. Leave me alone. Not fucking complicated. The thing is, all of the resources that I had were taken from me. So then I am dependent upon other people's money because all of my money is eaten up already. And then those people treat me like shit. They say, oh, there's no strings attached to this money. Oh, Sean, well, I need you to do this, 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 and this. Oh, Sean, well, I didn't get the outcome that I wanted from you doing this, 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 and this. So you must not have tried. You're fucking not trying, Sean, because you're not doing what I want. Meanwhile, Dan Faber, Layla Johnson, and Lana Engeline all have different ideas about what I should be doing while I'm in Montana. I can't possibly do everything all three of them want me to do. Lana and Amanda aren't pitching money. They have the roof. Dan's the money dude. Layla is apparently the talker and the resource finder, and she was pretty alright at it. She really was. She put a lot of fucking work into it. But she needed to be a real human being, and she needed to come forward, and she needed to not catfish. You see, that's the thing. She is not who she says she is. She's using somebody else's profile. And that did put a lot of trust issues between myself and Dan, because Dan knew that she wasn't who she was saying she was. But he didn't tell me until I called her and let him know. I was like, dude, she's not who she says she is. Some other lady is telling me that she's stealing somebody else's profile. And he's like, yeah, I already knew that. Fucking thank you for letting me know that, dude. Hey, Allie.
Hey, how are you?
I'm still breathing. I didn't get my brake lights fixed. That money didn't come in.
Why not? What happened?
Well, Pauline's pretty broke. She actually had to borrow $25 in order to send me that. I mean, she's a wonderful person. You should really meet my friends, ma'am. I mean, I do have some of the greatest people on earth. I don't get to see them, and they don't understand that their words are the difference between me being able to see them or not. So I'm pissed off at all of them, too. So what are you doing? Are you alright?
No, today's been a hard day.
Do what?
Today's just been a really hard day. I have your keys in my purse. I don't know why. I thought I'd give them back to you, but I have them in my purse.
You have them because I handed them to you so you could get in and out of the vehicle so that you didn't have to ask me, remember?
Okay, yeah, I remember.
You're good.
Yeah, but yeah, I have them, so I just wanted to let you know I do have them.
I just assumed you still had them because I forgot to ask for them back, and I was kicking myself in the ass for that.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I totally spaced it. But yeah, just today's been a really hard day.
That's alright. Are you still in the area?
No, I'm actually, by the Squally Market, on Bridgeport in Lakewood.
Alright. Well, I suppose I definitely can't make it there. Not until I
I'll
get
try
my
to make it
vehicle
that
fixed.
way
But
tonight. If I don't, it'll be in the morning.
all right. Well, if I'm passed out in here, I probably won't be because, like I said, I don't sleep often.
Okay.
But if
Where
I
are you parked at?
I am parked in the same parking lot on the same side of the parking lot. But I'm right next to the road instead of right next to the power junction box.
Oh, okay, you're in Starbucks parking lot still.
Yep, I'm 6 parking spaces down from where I was parked earlier. I mean, literally, if you go to where my car is parked earlier, you will already have seen my car from 100 feet back.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
if I'm asleep, feel free to just open the door, do whatever. If you want to pass out, let me know. Just tap me on the shoulder. I probably won't be passed out though.
Okay.
Um, you really sound like you're struggling.
Yeah, it's just a really bad day.
Problems with drugs or problems with crying?
I'm crying, but it's just an anniversary of a death, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll give you a call and let you know, or I'll show up one of the two. My phone's about to die, so.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get that charged up too. I still have half a tank of gas or so we can turn on the vehicle and get you a phone charged too.
Okay.
Okay. And I got enough for
Thank you.
coffee in the morning if you need, so you're good. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank Pauline.
Okay, I will, I'll come by.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
You know, some of my best friends I actually became friends with because they were assholes or because they did fucked up shit to me. Lucas Haas. That guy was my best friend from the start. But my best friend before Lucas Haas, his name was Jason Casillas. I was in kindergarten and there was a little girl named April English. And Jason Casillas was her boyfriend. And she wanted to be my boyfriend. I didn't really understand how all that worked. All three of us were in special ed. I'd like to say Jamie was my first kiss, and she really was. I mean, as far as any sort of actual feelings beyond just being a confused 6-year-old, 5-year-old, whatever. It was at Burlington Elementary School, and April English and I, her boyfriend Jason Casillas, the first time we met, April had a crush on me, and she said something to him, and we got into a fight. Wasn't my choice, and I don't remember who won. I don't think it was all that big major of a deal back then, though. Not like it was in the 90s, holy shit. But me and Jason, we got into that fight, and I remember there was also a kid there we called Snot Nose. He had some real thick Coke bottle glasses and a snotty nose, and that's why we called him Snot Nose. He was always really nice, though. He just had a runny nose all the time. And I remember it was a cold day, and they got these tires, these big, giant fucking tractor tires that are half buried in the ground. And they got all these, it's called pea gravel, and that's what's on the playground. And yeah, wear your nice black khakis, right? And you get down on your knees to crawl into that thing, and you get out the other side, and from your knees to your feet on the front of your pants, because you had to crawl in on your hands and knees, is covered in white speckles, because pea gravel is apparently covered in white dust. It's weird. But me and April, we went underneath that little tire there, and we were gonna kiss, and I slobbered on her. And it was cold as fuck, I remember that because we didn't get the dust on our knees. We got frost instead. So I don't know if you can really consider that a first kiss. But also, as far as the emotional content goes, like, really, it was just a monkey see, monkey do thing. You know, I'd seen people kiss, and she'd seen people kiss, and it was just, you want to kiss? Okay. But my first actual kiss after that was Jamie Curtis. It was a few months after her mom passed away, and she had her Jeep, and she was giving me a ride home real quick because she was having a party at her house, and she just wanted to get away from it. And I needed something from the place that I was buying from Sammy and Shelly Gatewood, the one that Lana and Amanda swore up and down that they'd give me money to take care of all the animals that they were leaving, as long as I was willing to take over the house. And, you know, instead of driving me to my house, she drove right up on my lawn. And she reached over and grabbed me by my ear and pulled my face over and stuck her tongue in my mouth. And then she let me go, and she grabbed a hold of the steering wheel, and she drove us back to her place. That is as far as I ever got with Jamie. I kissed her once. I don't know how to explain to you guys that I'm not crazy like schizophrenic. I'm crazy as in completely fucking overwhelmed. And when I ask for help, they want to pile more shit on me. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Oh, I won't hold it over your head, Sean. I would never do that. Oh, Sean, fucking, I gave you money. I gave you money. I gave you money. That's right. And I spent the money on what you wanted me to, instead of doing the things that I needed to do. I should have spent that money on the things I needed to. And some people, they gave me money for the things that I needed. Dan Favorite was pretty good about that. He couldn't always, but when I needed tires, you know, it took him a while, but he was able to come up with the money to get the tires. That vehicle should have remained evidence to this day. They did everything in their power to make sure that I couldn't have access to that evidence. See, here's the thing. Without the money for insurance and with the bullshit that they pulled at the Longmont Hospital, I was fairly certain if I went to go pick up my car that they were going to arrest me for assault again. After assaulting me for trying to turn in police for fucking assault. I was pretty sure they were going to arrest me again. But if Graham had actually kept his word, he did use the word promise. Promised me up and down that he would have the money, $100 for me, on Friday. But when he didn't have that $100, yeah, Dan had sent me some money for insurance to help cover insurance, but that money ended up not quite being enough. When I say not quite being enough, I mean that I didn't have enough to get my car out, let alone get the insurance. So Dan Favorite's insurance money wouldn't have gone towards insurance. It's still part of the fee to get my vehicle out. That was my last disability check, $700. $300 of it went to Miss Peaches for sending me the money to bail myself out. First time that ever happened in my entire life, getting bailed out. I never should have been there, and with Miss Peach's testimony, I wouldn't have been. With Shannon Alvarado's testimony, I wouldn't have been. With Dan Favorite's testimony, I wouldn't have been. With Danica Garner's testimony, or Rochelle Shelley Campbell's testimony, I wouldn't have been. But none of these people actually came forward and made reports. You think Danica made a report about me trying to keep her and her family safe? You think Shelly made a report about that? You think Shelly reported at all about any of the things that I did to try to help her to get somewhere safe? Do you think she made a report about that? Officer Michael Beard should have taken my report. That lady who took the telephone report, there was a lady in here today who was a paralegal, and she listened to it a little bit and told me that that 911 operator committed a felony. That's cool. 911 operator committed a felony. Of course, that paralegal didn't leave a name and didn't leave a number and gave me free legal advice. You know, you really should get a lawyer about that. Yeah, really? Really? I know. See, that's the thing. The things that happen to me, I see on the news where people are getting millions of dollars because the things that happen to me happen to them once. Meanwhile, I live a lifetime of those things happening, and it's fine. I don't get any money. I have to pay people money for harming me. That's not a life worth living. If I could spend the rest of my life on a deserted island with anyone at all, deserted, not desert, who would I want to live there with? Well, that is the easiest one to answer. I don't want to live on an island with any of the people that I love, if there's only one of them, like the boy or Jamie. I wouldn't want to separate them. I wouldn't want to be on there with Officer Steinman because that wouldn't set the example that the man needs to be used to set. I wouldn't want to be on that island with Ted Bollinger because I don't want to talk to the man, I don't want to see the man. Knowing what he did, I want the courts to cut off his balls or cut off his head. Both of them. But I want the courts to do it. No. If I was stuck on a desert island and I had one other person that would be stuck there with me, I'd pick Alicia Bollinger. Because first of all, I've got the skills to keep her alive, and it wouldn't take her long to figure that out. Second of all, I really do care about her, and I have no interest in hurting her, no matter how much of a fucking lying cunt she is. Third, if she'd stop being a fucking cowardly little cunt, pretending like I'd hurt her, then we'd be able to have a conversation or two, and she'd realize how badly she fucked up. She might even fucking apologize. Something a lot of people didn't notice about me. They didn't care when I apologized. The words, "I'm sorry." See, that's something with Jamie. When Jamie would do something fucked up, like really fucked up, she'd say, "I'm sorry." Like, "I'm sorry will fix it." And "I'm sorry" doesn't fix those things. Forgiveness is key in that situation. I forgave her. When I said I was sorry about something, I meant it. I was sorry. But my sorries didn't mean anything. I meant something. I meant I'm sorry. But these people, Jamie, my sorry didn't mean anything to Jamie. To Jamie, it was just words. To Natalie, it was just words. It didn't matter that I meant those words. I should have been allowed an honest day in court. I should have been allowed to confront my accusers. At the same time, witnesses needed to come forward. The police were not going to do their job, so you bitches needed to take it upon yourself to fill out a fucking report. And if they wouldn't take your report, write down the name of the officer who did not take your report. Mandy Hughes apologized to me so many times for being a terrible friend, and she wasn't. She was wonderful. Layla Johnson, too, apologized for being a terrible friend, and she wasn't. Miss Peaches has apologized for being a terrible friend. Pauline apologized for being a terrible friend. They're not. They're not. Laura Nelson said something similar, too. Kinga tried saying she was a terrible friend. No, Kinga, you're not a terrible friend. You're a wonderful person. Anna, you're not a terrible friend. You're a wonderful person. Most of you women are the ones who say that. I'm a terrible friend. You're fucking not. But between your words and your money, I'd rather have your words. Your money won't get me an honest day in court, but your words will. Your money won't get the news to listen to me, but your words will. Your money won't do any of the things that I actually need from you. What I need is my name cleared, an honest day in court. And that requires you guys using your voices, not your pockets, not your wallets. See, that's where people in houses go wrong. They think everything is fixed by money. But then again, they think that basically what amounts to chump change in today's world should get you up and out. Kinga was letting me know about all the homeless people because Boulder Housing Authority bought their apartments. And she was saying how their rent is now some of the cheapest in Boulder. It's only $2,400 a month. $2,400 per month for a 2-bedroom apartment in the south side of Boulder, Colorado. She typed the word only. Kinga, she works. She works long hours. She does bead crafting, just like Laura Nelson does. I know some of the best people on planet Earth. I really do. I also understand why it is that they ran away. When somebody calls you a murderer and a child molester and a rapist, that's a black spot that nobody wants. You know what a black spot is, right? You should read a little bit about old Jim Hawkins. Treasure Island, my boy. The black spot. The thing is, when you know somebody who's a black spot, somebody like me, or someone like Ryan Kelly, or someone like John Fox, or someone like Christopher Weaver, people who have been falsely accused of heinous crimes that they didn't commit. God, I don't even know how to explain that. You know, I thought I had the words, but then when I got finished with the first part, those words got lost. Ogre didn't get it as bad as he could have because I personally spoke up. John Fox didn't end up having a one-way trip up the mountains because I spoke up. Tabby's not a bad person. She made a terrible decision. Well, a series of terrible decisions. And you know, all I needed was for her to come forward and be honest about it. And truly, she is doing that. She's just not doing it for me. See, the things that I needed her to come forward about are all things that, since Josh Eichelberger is her ex, and they have children together, the things that I spoke out about on my Facebook in those videos during the period of time that I was at Miss Tabby's, I talk about Josh quite a lot. I usually just say one of the people here, or one of the guys here. You know, I'm really trying to keep people's names secret and safe, and also make sure that it's documented without getting me kicked out. Because at that point, kind of like with Graham, when Tabby wanted to get all sorts of over-defensive over Graham, because they're dating, Tabby would have done the same thing if I'd have made a video and used Josh Eichelberger's name. But the event itself is memorable. And the people in that household will and do remember it. Sid is probably not going to forget about being assaulted on the stairs. Graham isn't going to forget because I shamed him for not doing something about it. What did Graham do? Exactly what you don't do in that situation, which you shrug it off and pretend it's okay. Pretend like the victim deserved it, even, to some small degree. Sid did not deserve to be assaulted by Joshua Eichelberger. Now, Tabby, she deserves access to that information. She's currently blocked from my Facebook for being a lying bitch. But if you guys would like to go through my Facebook, any of you who are friends with me on Facebook, and go through and take those videos and send them to her, that would be much appreciated. I want to say it would have been March and April of last year that I was there. So in March and April, when you see those ones where I'm in a garage or I'm on a couch, that couch is in the basement of that same house. That whole period of time, when you see me in the garage, if you see any of the house during that period of time too, it's the same place. It's not two different locations, it's just two different rooms. And yeah, I'm mad at Graham. Mostly, though, I'm mad at Graham for being fucking stupid. But I already knew he was dumb as a stump. I mean, he's got some intelligence to him. He's just fucking ignorant. He doesn't realize what the police are like. See, he come from a decent family like Sage. Does coming from a decent family make you a bad person? No, it doesn't. Candace came from a decent family. Matter of fact, Candace is spoiled as fuck. She came from a fucking wonderful family. Her mom, her stepdad, her older brother. Shit, her two younger brothers are great too. I mean, they're... Chance was the hellmaker. He died over a decade ago. I was cleaning dog shit with Gary Jepson at Gary Jepson's dog run when I found out. I finished work before crying. Where with Natalie, I broke down immediately.